Today, I'm going to be talking about something that I think is big, and it is self sabotage. Because I find that a lot of times we have these very lofty ideas and goals and dreams of the beautiful lives that we want to have and the lives that we want to lead. But when we are just at the cusp or at the brink of getting said lives, we by ourselves do something that sabotages it or ruins it. And that's a big thing. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's easier to blame your lack of achievement or your downfalls on the hypothetical village people. But what happens when you are your own village people and you are the person that is actually causing your downfall and stopping yourself from living this life that you want to live? That is what we're going to be talking about on this video: how to stop self-sabotaging. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. We do amazing things on this channel. And if you are coming back, then I'm super excited to have you back. The only reason I'm here is because you're here. So let's get into it. Self-sabotage, like I've literally just said, is doing things that hinder your own success. So being the stumbling block in your own way, in your own life, and hindering your own progress and prosperity because of the things that you are doing or not doing. And most times it's a pattern, it's a recurring thing. That's why I think it's something that can be stopped, because it's something that you can realize is happening, watch to realize what is causing it, what it is that you're doing, and then take steps to fix it. So what are some examples of self-sabotage? Because it's easy to talk about stopping self-sabotaging, but if you don't even know what constitutes as self-sabotaging, you might have the problem and not know that you need to fix it. And the word self-sabotage, it seems big. It seems like you're doing terrible things to yourself, but it's really the little things like procrastinating, negative self-talk, even perfectionism, which a lot of us feel hyped about, like, oh, I'm just a perfectionist. I'm just a perfectionist. Like, that might be what is stopping you from doing great things, staying in negative relationships, being afraid of challenges, and never going out of your comfort zone. Things like this are self-sabotage if you look into it deeply. So how can you come to a place where you stop self-sabotaging? I think the very first one is to identify your goals. What are the things you're trying to accomplish? What are the things that you're trying to achieve? Where are the places you would like to go? When you close your eyes, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 2 years, 10 years? What are the things you would like to achieve by the end of the next quarter, by the end of the year? If you have a very clear picture of where you are going, you can then see what a realistic timeline is to getting there, and then say, that's odd. I've been wanting to do this for the past 2 years. I still haven't done it, but it's doable in 6 months. So how come I haven't done it in 2 years? Then you can look inward and see what the things you are doing are that are stopping you from getting there, and the things that you need to do differently. So then you can see that, the reason I haven't accomplished this is, well, outside of the outside factors. I'm not saying that there are no outside factors that will hinder your growth, but a lot of times you are the one hindering the growth. So you can say, apart from the outside factors, what are the things that I'm doing that is not letting me get to this place that I really want to get to? The next big thing is to identify the patterns and the triggers. This is a bit of a bigger one, right? Like I said at the start of the video, a lot of times self-sabotage is a pattern. It's something that you're doing recurrently, without even realizing it. And if you sit down to look at it, you might find that there are triggers. So you need to settle down and ask yourself, what is it that happens when I'm close to achieving something that then triggers maybe your fight or flight, or just scares you, and you decide that, yeah, it's wraps. I'm not doing this anymore. Sometimes it might be big things. It might be trauma. Sometimes it might be small things. It can be anything, but you need to take the time to reevaluate, go through everything that has happened up until the point you're at and say, what are the patterns? What looks like it's reoccurring? What triggers this in me, So, for example, I'll think of an example of self sabotage. Maybe you, as a lady or a woman, grew up in a not the best sort of household where you never really saw positive love, and your earliest exposure to marriage as an institution was very rocky and it looked really terrible. And your goal is to have a marriage that is beautiful and nothing like the marriage that you grew up watching, right? And you really, really want that. From the bottom of your heart, you want that. And then you get into a relationship with someone that is really good. You're having an amazing relationship. Everything is going really well. And then when they start to talk to you seriously along the lines of marriage, everything just scatters. And it starts to feel like a pattern. Like, why is it that when I'm getting so close to getting this thing that I really want, everything spoils? You might find that you are self sabotaging without even realizing it, because the idea of actually getting into a marriage, despite it being something that you really want, scares something in you, because you're so scared that you will get into a marriage and end up replicating everything that you've seen, which is the opposite of what you want. And so when you get really close, you start acting out, you start doing things that you shouldn't do, or basically in some ways shutting the whole thing down, because there's a part of you that is just really terrified of actually getting there. And then you'll find that you're self-sabotaging, right? So the only way to actually realize these patterns is by sitting down and checking them, highlighting what your triggers are, seeing what it is in these relationships or whatever, context we're speaking on is making you feel like this is actually not something that I want. And then what is it that you do in that moment and what should you do differently? Another one is to settle down and visualize your life as it is now. Every little detail of your life. Take into account where you are at currently, right? And then visualize the life that you want. Where are you trying to get to? Why do you want to get there? Paint the picture, make it beautiful, make it grand, make it great. What does that life that you want look like? Then what is it about your life currently that you really, really like that you may lose if you get to your dream life? And why is that stopping you from actually going for your dream life? It might sound ridiculous because you feel like you don't like where you're at and you really want to get to the next stage. But sometimes when you settle down and think about it, you realize that there are some things about your current life that you really, really do enjoy that you might not have if you go to the next stage of your life. And just by virtue of that, subconsciously, you're stopping yourself from getting there. Evaluate these things and see, weigh the pros and cons. Is this actually better than what it is that you think you want? If it is, then maybe there are ways to optimize your current life to allow you hold on to these things that you want while still being happy with what it is that you have. Or maybe there are ways to optimize yourself such that in your new life, you can still enjoy the little pleasures of these things that you have now that you really enjoy, right? Think about it and paint that picture for yourself so that you can have a clear picture of what is really going on. Another thing to really ask yourself is, are you just bidding your time and like procrastinating, but you eventually do the thing? Or are you just on some level really okay with where you are and you're not trying to move forward? Now, we can have a whole other conversation about procrastination and why you really shouldn't be doing that to begin with. If you need to get things done today and you have the capacity to get them done today, then perhaps you should just do that. But sometimes, it's okay to realize that, no, I am actually just bidding my time. I'm not quite ready to get to that next stage yet. And that's why I'm procrastinating. But then if that is it, then set a timeline for yourself. When will you be ready? What do you need to do to get ready to actually take those steps? As opposed to just sitting in a state of perpetual procrastination where you're stuck in a rut, but you're so sure you can get out of it. So you just stay there. That's not helpful at all. But if you realize that you're actually not just okay with being here, you're just beating your time, then you can set steps and say, okay, you know what? I'm playing now and I'm playing for the next 2 months. But by so month, I actually need to get a move on and do things and get shit done so I can do the things that I need to do. So evaluate these things and ask yourself, what really is it? Another one is set realistic goals and practice realistic ways of achieving these goals. It's very easy to paint your goals in very lofty, unattainable ways and end up not getting there because it's just really not realistic. Like, how are you going to do it? Just how? And it seems impossible. And so you're stuck. But if you're setting goals that are actually realistic, then you're giving yourself actionable, realistic steps that you can take to get to where you're going. And this just sounds like a planning deficit, but in many ways it is self-sabotage because you insist on setting these goals that you know that you're not capable of meeting. So it just feels like I'm trying my best, I'm doing everything, but this life that I want, I just can't get it. Like the forces are against me. But really, it's you. You are the forces. You are the forces against your own self because you're not setting goals that you have the capacity to achieve and to doing things in a way that allows you to thrive and allows you to get to the places that you actually want to get to. What about your current life? Again, I'm saying, are you scared of losing when you thrive? You know, ask yourself these questions. What are the comfort zones that you're scared of stepping out of? And then push yourself to actually step out of them. Like I said, it can be procrastination, it can be negative self-talk. If you've done the work of growth, then there's no reason to keep reminding yourself of where you used to be or all that you were, you know, that doesn't allow you to be worthy of this life that you have. You should be able to push yourself and spur yourself to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And it sucks if you are the reason why you're not getting this life. So I hope this video helps you to pause, first of all, just pause, take stock of your life that you have and take stock of the life that you want to have and ask yourself, what can I do differently to allow me to actually get said life? So that I'm actually living the life of my own dreams and I'm achieving everything that I want to achieve. And I'm not just stuck in an unending cycle of going nowhere. This, I think, is a video that I'm going to come back and watch just because sometimes it's in the moment when you're talking about certain things that you realize that, I can also be working on this, you know, like what are the goals that I have that I'm not doing all that I need to do to get? And I might even be stopping myself from getting. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you share it to that friend that you think has a self-sabotaging problem. And I hope this video helps them as well to make very positive changes and get to the place that they're trying to get to. I will see you on the next video. Bye.